Welcome to the Shepherd's Wallet podcast, financial guidance that speaks pastor. I'm Seth Scott, and I help ministry leaders navigate the unique financial complexities that come with answering God's call. Pastors face one of the most complex financial situations of any profession, yet there's a shocking lack of targeted, useful information available to help them. That's what we're here to change. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by housing allowances, confused by SECA taxes, or frustrated that generic financial advice doesn't address your unique ministry situation, you're in exactly the right place. In today's episode, I'm sharing a live stream where I walk through my housing allowance optimization tool with real numbers. This one works much better as a visual experience, so head over to my YouTube channel, Shepherd's Wallet, to see the full walkthrough with all the charts and calculations. Trust me, seeing the numbers change in real time makes all the difference. Here's the audio version to give you a taste, but definitely check out the full video on YouTube for the complete experience. I'm going to go over one of the most asked for tools that I've created for this community, for pastors in particular, and it's the Housing Allowance Optimization tool. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can download exactly what you see here today in this video, and you can get to work on it. So I'd like to do a demonstration of exactly how that works. Before we jump into it, again, a preface of what this is. This is a Housing Allowance Optimization tool. A housing allowance, for those that don't know, is a specific provision that only pastors get. Specifically ministers of the gospel, as it says in IRS, in the IRS code. And it allows pastors to take an exclusion from their income. That means that this part of their income is not taxed for income tax. They can exclude a part of their income that represents their housing expenses. There are a few guardrails in place just to make sure that people aren't going crazy and erasing essentially their entire income from this benefit. But there's essentially three values that you need to calculate, and you get to take the lesser of the three. The three values are, first, what's actually officially designated as a housing allowance by your church. So this should be happening every year. Your church board should be getting together, probably the last meeting of the year, whether that's in December or November. I know that some boards take December off for holidays and such. I serve a church where we do that. So you got to think ahead. For us, this would be every November. The pastor should be coming to the board and should be requesting a housing allowance for the next year. Again, that's a dollar amount, and it's a portion of their total W-2 pay from the church. So if you have a pastor who is paid $50,000 from the church, and they have $20,000 in housing expenses estimated, they can go to the church and they can request that $20,000 of their total $50,000 would be officially designated as a housing allowance. And that would exclude that $20,000 from taxable income to that pastor when it comes to calculating their income taxes. So it's an insanely good benefit. Again, it's a benefit that only pastors get, and almost every pastor that I know has at least heard of the housing allowance and is doing their best to optimize it. What I've found, though, is that pastors tend to fall into one of two camps, because pastors may do a good job telling each other about the housing allowance and kind of sharing what they've done. But I've found that there seems to be a lack of fundamental understanding as of exactly what the housing allowance is, what counts towards it, what doesn't count toward it, because there are some things that don't count, and how to optimize it for your particular situation. And so you kind of have these two camps of pastors. One just plays it safe, says, you know what, I could probably count this expense towards my housing allowance, let's say like fertilizer for your lawn. Someone would look at that and be like, oh, is this considered a housing expense or not? I don't know. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm not going to count it. And then they end up leaving money on the table. So that's kind of one camp of pastors. The other camp of pastors are those that just go for broke and be like, I'm getting this tax benefit. I'm milking every single dollar that I can out of this. And I'm going to count everything. I'm going to count housekeepers. I'm going to take out a HELOC. I'm going to count that. And they end up kind of playing fast and loose with the rules, and they end up sleeping with one eye open in case the IRS comes knocking. So I think that there's a good middle ground. If you are thoroughly and fully educated on exactly what the housing allowance is, exactly what it isn't, exactly what it does for you, exactly what it doesn't do for you, and if you have a tool that helps keep you honest and helps you optimize what your actual allowance is, then you can come boldly before your board at the end of every year and know exactly the housing allowance that you should request. So I was talking about the three values. So that's the official designation of the church. And the church isn't going to take the initiative on that, by the way. That's something that you as a pastor should be doing. You should be coming to the church and be identifying your own housing allowance based off of your needs and your housing situation. That's not on the church to try to read the crystal ball and try to figure out what that is for you. So I want to empower you to come up with the right value. The second value that you need to know is your actual housing expenses. And I've mentioned this a few times. Even if your church designates a really high housing allowance, say you only have $20,000 in expenses, but to play it safe, they give you $30,000. They say, hey, we want to give you the most possible benefit. Go ahead and take $30,000 of your $50,000 salary as a housing allowance. Sounds good, except when it actually comes down to taking your tax benefit when you're filing, you can only take the lesser of those two. So if you only spent $20,000, you can only take the $20,000, even if your church gave you $30,000 as an allowance. And that means that extra $10,000 becomes fully taxable income. And that's a bad surprise that nobody wants around tax time. So let's plan ahead and let's make sure that we're right sizing our housing allowance according to our actual expenses. And that's what the tool helps you do here. The third is something called the fair rental value. And this is kind of the more complicated one. Nowadays, it's super easy. And I'm going to show you my method. And again, it's built into the tool. It prompts you exactly what you should be doing to do your own due diligence and your research. It should take you 10 to 15 minutes a year to find a fair rental value for your residence, and to have good documentation to hold up in case the IRS decides to come knocking and give you that dreaded audit. So I want to make my pastors that I work with as audit proof as possible. And so it's all about documentation. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to tell you exactly how to determine the fair rental value. And again, that's furnished plus utilities. Those are important caveats to throw in there. You can't just go on Zillow, for instance, and look at the rent estimate and I'm done. That's my fair rental value. Well, then you're leaving money on the table because it says specifically in the IRS code, furnished plus utilities. And I'll show you again in the tool exactly how to capture those. All right. So again, recap, you have three values: your designated housing allowance from your church, which again can be whatever you ask them to do as long as it's in writing and officially designated. The second is your actual housing expenses for the year. And the third is the fair rental value of your home, furnished plus utilities. You can take the lesser of these three. In the book, I talk about this as thinking about a three-legged stool. You can only sit as high as the shortest leg. And so that's how it works. Thank you for joining me on the Shepherd's Wallet podcast. I hope these strategies help you steward your sacred capital with greater confidence and peace. If you found this helpful and would like to go deeper in your stewardship journey, join the Shepherd's Wallet community at shepherdswallet.com/join. You'll get weekly live Q&A sessions, pastor-specific financial tools, and a community of fellow ministry leaders committed to faithful stewardship together. Also, you can pre-order my upcoming book, Shepherding Your Finances. It's the comprehensive guide to everything we talk about on this show, plus implementation worksheets and strategies you won't find anywhere else. Pre-orders are 35% off for a limited time at shepherdingyourfinances.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, you are worthy of double honor, including the honor of proper financial guidance. See you next week.